The Xtreme BPM, Tuesdays and Fridays, 8 p.m. East African time. That's when we get to talk to people that make the music. So that is Tuesdays and Fridays, 8 p.m. East African time. But Monday through Friday, we get to play more of the music, and that's on the eJazz Mix Show. You'll be able to catch the entire playlist of all that music at the end of the day. But that's through Monday through Friday. I always employ you to check out that show because that's when we get to play more of the music. And then Tuesdays and Fridays, we get to hang out with people that make the music. And today on the show, we've been playing the song This Kind of Love, and that is coming in from Korpen. He's on the show. Welcome to the show. How are you doing? We've been trying to do this for a while, full disclosure, but finally we got to do it today. So glad to have you on the show. And how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm just really busy working on a lot of new projects. Got some shows on the weekends and stuff like that, but I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, that's great. So with the song is the song we are playing on the show is This Kind of Love. But how do you get into making your own music? How does this all get started for you?
Right. So I actually haven't been around for a long time. So a lot of people are like, oh, you've been doing this for a while. I've only been doing this for like around a year now. And, you know, I owe a lot of it to my mentor. His name's Mr. Mig, who actually remixed This Kind of Love as well. So my sister used to be a singer. There's a lot of like music in my family. And my sister had known him from making a song with him in the past. And, you know, he introduced me to Logic Pro, and he taught me a lot of the foundational things that I know about it. And then from there, you know, a lot of like looking up YouTube videos and teaching myself over time. I started off using a lot of splice stuff. I didn't really know exactly how to use the stuff, but eventually, you know, my knowledge grew and my skills got a lot better. And, you know, This Kind of Love for me was kind of like that step where it was like, okay, I know how to mix, I know how to master, I put it all together, all the skills that I've learned. And that was like the first release that I put out where I was like, okay, I'm confident about this one. So that's kind of how it all came together.
Yes. So This Kind of Love is like, let's say, would you call that as your debut single?
So I'd say that that's probably like my second single. I had a single before This Kind of Love called Directions, and that was signed with the same label, 418 Music. You know, I was introduced to them by Mig as well. He, and shout out to Gino Caporelli, you know, he reached out and he was like, you know what, I really like Directions. Let's see, let's see what we can kind of do with it. And, you know, like that was pretty much my debut single. And then, you know, I made This Kind of Love and I sent it to him. I was like, let me know your thoughts on this one. He was like, this is awesome. Like, I can't stop listening to it. I wake up, I listen to it. I was like, I have a good feeling about this one. I think this is going to be a good one. So we decided to put that one out. So.
Yeah, so that's This Kind of Love. And for someone listening in, because we get to play a lot of various genres of music on the show, can you explain the importance of having remixes in your genre of music? Because some people that listen in, you know, they release a single, then then they push that's done, and then, but whereas in house music or electronic, if you want to generalize it at this point, you have what is the importance of having various remixes?
Right. So I think for like This Kind of Love, you know, it's kind of a melodic house, vocal house track. And while all the remixes hold that vocal house track because the vocals is very strong, it's emotional, they kind of put their own spin on it, which changes the genre. So, you know, Mr. Mig put his melodic house / melodic techno remix on it, and that's able to connect with different groups of people who enjoy different types of EDM. You know, Will Weinbach, sort of a similar remix, but you know, kind of like a modernized a little bit remix of that with a cool bass line. You know, I think Marshall Simon and Block and Crown are also going to put another kind of house remix. And for that song, it kind of reaches the different types of people that listen to the music. So it's really good that, you know, a vocal that I found that I was like, you know what, I really like this, can be spun off so many different ways and connect with different people who, you know, maybe if the original isn't for them, maybe the remix is.
Yeah, absolutely. And then so with all these various remixes coming out, what are you working on as as an art, as a musician at this point? Because you also make your own music, but you're also a DJ too, right?
Yeah, so right now I'm currently working on, I think it's a lot of projects in the workings, but obviously I also DJ on the weekends. So I DJ next weekend. I'm at Nodo in Philly. I'm doing that show with Laverne. And then 2 days later, I'm at HQ2. We have a sold out show for Halloween with Joel Corey. And then in weeks to come, I'm in New York, Philly, New Jersey, just bouncing around the tri-state area for now, doing shows and stuff. But then during the weeks and stuff, pretty much my days consist of waking up, hop on my computer, and then the night before, I'll usually determine, okay, I want to get this much done of this song, and kind of spread out my time. But yeah, that's pretty much what my weeks looks like. It's like during the week, it's grind, 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 and then on the weekend, we party.
Yeah, and as far as the music goes, any projects you're working on?
So right now I'm working on maybe like 6 projects, and they're all, I'm working with like real singers, real artists. I don't know if I can say, I know I can say that I'm working with Devmo. She is a kind of like rapper, hip hop, kind of like singer. And, we're making a track. It's going to be kind of like spoken word kind of track where it's like dark tech house. Like it's a little bit different from This Kind of Love. This Kind of Love is very bright. It's very uplifting. And the song that I'm making with Devmo is going to be kind of dark, but it's going to be made for a club setting. And I'm super excited for that. And then I'm working on another track with her sister, actually. Her name's Asia. That track is more, very tech housey sort of. The reference track is Human by John Summit. So, John Summit's always been like kind of like an inspiration of mine. And I've always loved his music. And I think him and I have some parallels to each other. So I was like, you know what? What do you think about this idea? I sent it over. Do you think this is a good reference track? And she was like, let's do it. So yeah. Super excited for that. And then I also have another song with an artist named Jordan Grace. Now, Jordan Grace has produced music with Steve Aoki, Martin Garrix. And I'm super grateful to have the opportunity to kind of work with him because I think what we're going to make is something that's going to be really different. It's going to be what we're kind of looking for is kind of like a country EDM kind of genre style. So, it's not something I've ever done. I don't know if he's ever really done something like that, but I'm super excited to see what we can come up with. And I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, that I think it's good even with the experimentation to see even where the creativity leads you. When you just, because I think a lot of time, a lot of the music that I see a lot of genre blending that is happening even with the music that I'm receiving, even with the newer artists, and it always like at the start it's like, what is that? But it sounds like something that I know. What is? Then it goes to a whole different level, and then you're like, oh, so this is what it is, and it becomes like a new sound that people are taking on now, and then from on there everything builds up, and it's a whole different thing. Speaking of still house music, so I've had an artist from the UK that has been quite successful in dance music, and her name is Kelly Lee, right? And I think we've talked about various avenues in which when musicians, the singers, are working with the DJs and the producers, and how that usually works out well for the DJ, but then the singer sometimes usually it's tough for them to even get recognition on the track, or given credit, or given any points on the song. How do you intend to approach that? Because that's the same genre that you are in at this point.
Yeah, so that I feel like kind of depends on, everything's kind of negotiable with that. So like, I know some singers want to be, like when you co-release, they don't want to be a feature. They want it to be a true collab. So, I know like a lot of DJs and producers nowadays kind of just post the track and it'll just go under their name. And sometimes the vocalists don't really get the recognition. For me, I think for like the releases that I'm going to do going forward, I definitely do want to mention their names on it and do it as a co-release. I think it shows that, because the collaborative process is something that's so different, because getting a vocal off of, say Splice, that's something that for me, like I could just get something and just do it on a day. Like you could just slap it on a track. But the collaborative process is so different. And I think it's so important to show that, the vocalist and the producer both get mentioned, because when you're making a song like that, it's like you really have to combine both of your styles. And it's such a, it's a fun thing. And it's also definitely more difficult. And I think it's definitely important to show that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's interesting, because them, at least at this point, at least with the newer artists and stuff, and the newer producers, at least it's a bit different. You get to see the vocalist mentioned. Even in songs that I've received, I get to see, usually they will add the name of the vocalist on the song, but a few years ago it was a bit rough and a little bit challenging for some of the musicians, even for some of the singers. And some of them were actually even writing on the song, and they weren't getting any credit at all. So, but I'm glad to see that at least the newer music and the newer people that are coming in, that is changing, and a little bit of having more people talk about this and appreciate, giving credit to the singers that sing on the song, or even write and help the people that make the songs, make the song what it is. I think it's a good thing moving forward. So so this kind of love is what we have. So all these other projects that you're working on, I guess this is for some weeks later to come, right?
Yeah, so actually my next kind of planned release as of right now, it's a process of getting songs out. So it's like kind of looking for where the song is going to end up in terms of signing to a label. And I actually made a track that I've kind of been sitting on for a little while called Saving. Now, Saving is a follow-up to This Kind of Love. It's the same vocalist. Her name's Eliane. And I grabbed her vocal, made something that's pretty similar to This Kind of Love, but it's also, This Kind of Love is 126 BPM, where this one's a little bit quicker. It's 130, but it contains, the piano, contains the arps, the arpeggiators and stuff. So it's a similar style, very emotional track with emotional vocals. And, I think we're really on track. We're thinking about signing it pretty soon. So I think that actually may end up being the next release, and it's going to be a perfect follow-up for This Kind of Love. And I'm super excited for that one to come out, because I've been sitting on it. I know a lot of people were, I was getting a lot of good feedback on it. I was posting it on my story, and they were like, I need this one. So yeah, I'm excited for that one to finally come out.
Yeah. All right. We can't wait to hear that. So, because her vocals on This Kind of Love are sick. Yeah. Yeah. The vocals are really good on This Kind of Love. Yeah. Yeah, and I think
she's got a really, she's got a great voice, and the lyrics are something. So like for me, when I'm making music, especially with This Kind of Love and now coming Saving, when you're able to get lyrics that you can kind of get behind emotionally, for me, the writing process of the music behind it is so much easier, because you're listening and you really feel it like in your heart, and you're like, oh my God, like I love this. And you can just put all of your time, all your attention is just drawn to it. So it just happens a lot quicker than if you get a vocal that you're like, I don't really like believe what they're saying. It's kind of tough for me. At least it's tough for me to kind of be like, okay, they're talking about like drugs or whatever it might be. And for me, I'm just like, I just don't connect to this. So it's kind of hard for me to keep my attention on it. But her vocals are very like love centered. It's about love. It's about, sometimes heartbreak, sometimes like troubles in relationships, whatever it might be. And like, for me, it's like, I know that connects with a lot of people. And for me, it's like kind of like powerful and motivating. So I really enjoy making tracks like that.
Yeah, so something that we shall wrap up with the DJing part. How has it been for you? What has been your experience?
Yeah, so I think like, I mean, I started off, like I said, like about a year ago, and I was doing kind of like small bars because I was actually a college athlete just a year ago. I was playing baseball in college. And, you know, I had this passion for music and stuff. And, you know, I would DJ at the bar that, you know, the college kids would go to. And they just were like, I told the people, I was like, yeah, like, if you want, I can come in and DJ. And they were like, yeah, sure. Like, come in, we'll pay you. So, you know, I was doing that on the weekends during the fall. And you know, baseball season came in the spring, and I couldn't really do DJing anymore. So I was just producing a lot on the road. You know, we were traveling to like Oregon, we were traveling to all these different states, and I was just grinding the whole time. It was kind of hard to find time to do schoolwork because I was so obsessed with just music. And you know, then summer comes, baseball's over, and now it's time to start DJing. So I start getting some gigs. You know, promoters are reaching out to me about New York City, and they're kind of like, hey, like, you want to play this place? And I was like, yeah, I can bring people too. Like, my friends in New York City can come watch me play. And it was great. So I start playing New York City, and I played this place called Hotel Chantel the first week of summer. And it wasn't like a big club by any means. It was cool. It was like kind of like my first step into the world of you know, outside of that college DJ, that local DJ world. And then the next week, I actually got the opportunity to play at this place called Marquee, which is one of the biggest clubs in Manhattan. You know, I was opening up for Frank Walker, which is a big deal for me. I was like, I can't believe this is happening right now. It's happening really quick. So that happened. And then, yeah, so the doors from there just started opening. You know, I'm posting content on Instagram. And ever since the beginning, my dream, you know, because I would go to a place called HQ2, which is in Atlantic City. It's number 16 club in the world. And I was like, bury me. Once I play this place, you can bury me. I'm happy. And, you know, that opportunity came this summer, actually. And I remember I got the text message saying, hey, like, you want to open up for Hala and West End at HQ2? And I was like, don't even, like, that's not a question. I'm there. Like, I'm just grateful to even be there, to DJ there. Like, and so I played that. And, you know, so I played at HQ2 this summer 3 times. I played at HQ2 last weekend, and then I'm there next weekend. So, you know, it's like, it's all kind of like a dream to me. It happened really quickly. And the club scene in Atlantic City is very cool, you know, especially when there's like a pretty big headliner. So I noticed, like, for Cedric Gervais last weekend, you know, the crowd was really good because they came for the music. They're not, like, you didn't see anyone on their phone. They were dancing. It was a great time. Like, there's a reason why that place is ranked number 16, because it's just like the atmosphere in that club compared to other places that I've played is just unreal. Like, it's so intimate. People love the music, and it's a moment. Every single song I play feels like a special moment. So it's awesome.
And after realizing that, baseball out of the way, what happened?
Yeah, no, baseball finally out of the way. I actually had Tommy John surgery, so I had eligibility to play another year of college, and I had some offers from schools, actually. And you know, I had to make the toughest decision, which was give up baseball, which was, I mean, I always wanted to play professional baseball. It was always the dream. And, you know, music kind of blindsided me. And I was like, you know what? Like, I love baseball. I love everything that it's given me, but it's time to turn the page. And I want to do what my real dream is now, and that's music.
Yeah, that's great. So, you know, and glad that already you've realized some of the things you hope to achieve, which sometimes it takes longer for people to be able to attain. And you're having that on a daily basis now, because if you've played HQ twice, how many, almost several times now, you're playing it again, next weekend or this weekend?
Yeah, next weekend I'm playing there for, it's a sold out Halloween show. So the place holds, I think, around 2,000 people. So it's going to be my biggest show I've had yet. But it's crazy. Like if you were to ask my year ago self, like, where do you see yourself in a year? I was an ambitious person. I was like, maybe I'll be here, maybe I'll be there. But like to actually live in the moment and like kind of take it all in is just like, how is this happening right now? Like it's happening so quick. It's the best feeling.
Yeah, amazing. So thank you so much for joining us today on the show. The song that is out right now, guys, is This Kind of Love. And we're going to play that as we get out of here. But first, how can people find you? Where would you send them?
Okay, yeah. So my Instagram is Korpen, KORPEN_OFC. My Spotify is Korpen. Same thing with my Spotify. So those are my socials. Go check it out. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and enjoy the music. So This Kind of Love is what is out right now from Korpen, and we're going to play that. But we shall be back definitely next week. So Tuesdays and Fridays, 8 p.m. East African time, right here on the eJazz Radio. But we have the eJazz Mix Monday through Friday. That's almost 2 hours of new music that we get to play on a daily weekdays. Okay, so make a date with us then, and you'll be able to check out the music. So Tuesdays and Fridays is when we get to talk about that. That's the Xtreme BPM, and that airs on eJazz Radio and eJazz Extra. So until then, absolutely nothing left for you guys.